This is a segment that I'm calling Coffee with Grandpa. So, grab yourself a cup of coffee, pull up a seat, let's talk. Where this comes from is where I start. My grandparents and their generation used to do a Saturday morning coffee, have a friend over, where they talk about just about anything. They talk about politics, heck, they talk about who was the previous guest star on Hee Haw. If you don't know what Hee Haw is, I'll put a link in the description below. You'll enjoy it. So, I thought I'd take this first one and talk about why so many of the items you see and hear me discuss are 1920s and 1930s. Whether it's my lamps or the 1930s cast iron or any number of other things, a lot of that comes from what went on during that time period. Now, that was when my grandparents were kids. And my great-grandparents were living through it and trying to raise a family during it. So that would be the 1929 through 1939. During that time, let's see, in 1929 the stock market crashed, which led to a recession. Now, there's a lot of different things that went on, and you can go look it up and read about it and watch economists discuss it. But in a nutshell, things went from bad to worse. If you want a true example of an SHTF situation in the U.S., that's it. It's called the Great Depression. And about, midway through the 1930s, while the Great Depression was in swing, of course, you had the Dust Bowl come through and decimate a large area of the U.S. farmland, which just made things even worse than they already were. So, it's a good place to learn about SHTF and what can happen. It's also a period in time just before electrification of rural areas. So most farms and a lot of people in the U.S. were living without electricity. That's why I have the lamps from the 1920s. The Coleman stove that I'm using, the design came from the 1930s, even though the stove I've got is 60s. I just can't seem to find those 1930s ones. So because of that, a lot of the stuff that's in the cabin, a lot of the way the cabin's designed, is designed around that time period just before electricity. I'll put some links to some more information on the Great Depression down in the description below. You can take your time and peruse them. I've seen some people that have put up documentaries that are just wrong. One I had to laugh at. They said during the Great Depression, people started having kids at home to save money. I hate to break it to you, but back then kids weren't born in hospitals. Matter of fact, the first president of the U.S. to have been born in a hospital was Jimmy Carter. And that's in my lifetime. In Coffee with Grandpa, it's a discussion. It's an opportunity for me to answer questions or to talk about any topics that come to mind. Or maybe you want to suggest a topic. If you do, go ahead and leave a comment. We can talk about just about anything. I look forward to having a lot of communications with all the people that are watching.